let's jump in. Let's talk about the Heat Knicks game. The Heat win this game 108-90 or 108-101.
Yep.
And it was a fascinating game for a number of reasons. The Knicks come out in this game. They're on fire offensively. They dropped 32 in the first quarter. And then from there on, it just became a super slog of a basketball game. And obviously, this is a game without Julius Randle for the New York Knicks. This is a game where it seems like Jimmy Butler was not 100% by the end of it. Bam Adebayo seemed to be, have a lot of wear and tear maybe from that last Bucks series after dealing with Brook Lopez and Giannis Antetokounmpo for 5 games. What was your immediate reaction to what you saw from game 1 in this Heat Knicks series?
It was a great game. Jimmy Butler continues to do superhuman things and carry the Miami Heat in a ton of different ways. I thought in the first round series against Milwaukee, it was much more about his offense. I thought tonight it was much more about him kind of answering the call a little bit on the defensive end of the floor. My heart is absolutely singing right now because one of my favorite players of all time in Kevin Love had a fantastic game and I think helped ignite a spark for the Miami Heat that allowed them to much more comfortably get back into this game. They were scratching and crawling their way back in before Kevin Love had his third quarter explosion. But I think that was just a really tough blow for the New York Knicks when they didn't have Julius Randle out there.
Spins demanded that I pull Kevin Love clips in this game. So we're going to watch some of those clips at some point, but we're also going to watch some clips on the defensive adjustments from the Miami Heat. Before we get into those, it's just worth noting Jimmy Butler goes for 25 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 8 of 16 from the field, 9 of 11 from the line. Jalen Brunson goes for 25, but it took him 23 field goal attempts to get there. RJ Barrett goes for 26, 9, and 7. I thought RJ was the next best player today, certainly. Obi Toppin goes for 18. He took 11 threes in this game, which was, I think, a bit of a surprise, and yet also is somewhat indicative of what I think the most important things are going to be moving forward within this series for the Knicks. So I don't know. Do you just want to kind of dive into the tape here and just jump in and talk a little bit about how Miami kind of stemmed this tide early on?
Yeah, as long as we don't have to watch all 11 Obi Toppin 3-pointers, I'm in.
He made 4 of them. It wasn't a disaster for Obi, but
he did.
What we're going to do here is we're going to start in the first quarter with 3 plays that I think kind of showcase what was going on for Miami in this first quarter. Here, you're going to see the Knicks will always start RJ Barrett on the right side of the court. It is what they do. They want to try and get him on the right side of the court, taking a handoff, taking a ball screen to try and get downhill toward the left. This is what they do. Here we go. So they're going to come down. Jalen Brunson's going to set a nice little screen for RJ. RJ's going to come up. He's going to take this dribble handoff for Mitchell Robinson. And it's a bit too soft of a drop, I think, here from Bam Adebayo. He lets RJ Barrett get into that paint. And one thing that you'll notice here, I want you to take a look at where Max Strus is. Max Strus is a bit high right now. He is guarding Josh Hart like pretty realistically. And to me, here he digs. He does not actually come in and try and stop RJ Barrett and cut off an angle for RJ. He just kind of digs and shows and then recovers, right? It's just a very small stunt from Max Strus there, as opposed to actually just sitting in the paint and trying to stop him. The fact that it's a stunt is important for when we move forward with what the Heat did later in this game. They let RJ Barrett get both feet in the paint. RJ goes up, finishes a lob to Mitchell Robinson there. So next, RJ Barrett, again, right side of the court, takes a ball screen from Mitchell Robinson. Kevin Love is on Mitchell Robinson here. This is just not going to be an advantageous situation for the Miami Heat when Kevin Love is playing center defensively. RJ is being guarded by Gabe Vincent. That is a guy that RJ can kind of muscle up against a little bit and get all the way to the lane. Really good stride length from RJ Barrett there. Gets all the way to the basket. Finishes. Again, RJ on the right side of the court offensively. You're going to see here, Obi Toppin's going to dance with it a little bit against Max Strus. He's going to take the dribble handoff to RJ. They do a pretty good job of denying the ability for him to get downhill toward his left. Max does a pretty good job there. And then he's actually just going to drive right. He's going to spin back. And what you're going to see here is a bit of an adjustment already from Miami late in this first quarter. You've got 4 bodies in the paint here. You're going to notice here, Isaiah Hartenstein is setting a screen so that Bam can't go out and recover out on to Obi Toppin on the corner. Long closeout, open 3. Again, though, brought on by dribble penetration, where RJ Barrett was able to get that deep into the paint. Erik Spoelstra, I believe it was probably around the 3-minute mark of the first quarter, told the Heat this. They had a huddle. They had the mic in the huddle. Spoelstra said, I don't think we remember what type of team this is. It is an aggressive, attacking, paint team. Why are we letting them attack every time? The ball is the priority. So here, we're going to go right in to the first possession of the second quarter. As you can see, the New York Knicks scored 22 paint points in the first quarter of this game. That is an enormous amount of paint points. So here, what do the Heat have? They're in a zone. They're just straight up in a zone in the first possession of the second quarter. You can see it by the way that they're guarding. There we go. They're going to reverse it into Obi Toppin in the corner. And Toppin is going to get the wedgie, right? An absolute wedgie there. Second possession here of the second quarter. I think this is like a box and one matchup zone kind of look. You'll see here. You'll see the box here, particularly with Bam, Duncan Robinson. I believe that's Haywood Highsmith, and then Caleb Martin. In here, you can see the box. You can see where Duncan is, and you're going to see Kyle Lowry be the one on RJ Barrett. He is guarding Barrett basically across the court while the Heat basically box up in a zone. There's some funky rotations here a little bit late in this possession that like kind of throw it off for me to where I can't totally tell if that's what they're doing, but I'm pretty sure it's a box and one here. Just again, to give Miami or to give the Knicks a different look, to give RJ Barrett a different look, particularly given that he was the one that had success dribble penetrating throughout the course of the first quarter. Already, Erik Spoelstra making adjustments. Spins. Where are you at on this?
What a smart coach. I mean, look, it's never too early in a series to just say, screw it, this isn't working, we got to do something different. And I think a lot of coaches, particularly younger coaches or guys who spend so much time game planning, are so attached to the theory or the idea they had in their head. And look, Erik Spoelstra has routinely used the zone over the last 2 or 3 years to try to disrupt the flow of offense. He goes to it a ton in ATO situations, which is where we saw it first play coming out of the quarter. Don't let the Knicks comfortably get into whatever it is that Tibbs, who is a maestro at just wanting to call up one of his 8,000 plays in the playbook. Like, this is a great chess move from Spoelstra to be able to change that. But you saw 22 point paints in the first quarter, 21 points overall for the Miami Heat. They needed to do something different. And I jokingly call the New York Knicks team stride stop, because like they always just muscle their way patiently into the lane and then kind of pivot you to death. They want to just bully you over and get there. And then guys like Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson are standing in the dunker spot, making sure that you can't overhelp off of them so they can get offensive rebounds or dunk attempts. Like, they want to bully you and outmuscle you. And Miami's approach right out of the gate just simply wasn't working of keeping them away from those spots. So they bought themselves some time here with the zone. It was a good initial adjustment, and it got them back into the game a little bit.
Yep, that's definitely right. So here we're a little bit deeper into the second quarter. Trying to remember why I pulled this one. I believe this is going to be, okay, look, RJ Barrett driving into the paint. 4 bodies touching the paint right now from the Miami Heat. Their entire goal here moving forward, they're going to make Quentin Grimes, Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickly, even, Josh Hart certainly, beat them from beyond the arc. That is the entirety of what's going to happen in this series. It looks like moving forward. I would bet you that this goes from game 1 all the way to game 7 at this point, if it goes that deep. They are going to force the Knicks to beat them anywhere but in the paint. So here, you're going to see Gabe Vincent body up, literally 5 guys in the paint against Jalen Brunson right now. 5 guys in the paint. He's going to kick it out to RJ. They're going to make RJ miss. They're going to make RJ beat them from beyond the arc. That is it. That is the goal. Here we go. Now I believe we are into the third quarter, which is where the fun really begins. So here, again, 4 guys in the paint, making life hard for Jalen Brunson, making Josh Hart beat them from 3. Kevin Love, home run, touchdown. I'm sorry, not a home run. That is a touchdown outlet pass up to Max Strus, the outlet pass king. This is actually just one that I wanted to pull because it's absolutely beautiful for Miami on offense. You're going to see here, this is just going to be a beautiful kind of empty side screening action for, I believe that is Gabe Vincent from Bam. Bam is going to roll into the open side of the court.
Yeah.
But what has happened here is the Knicks overloaded the side of the court where the action was happening. So you get this Kevin Love screen action. You're going to have Strus come through the play again, and then you're going to see Kevin Love go. He's going to set this screen, which you would expect to be just like a typical pin down, but instead it is essentially a dummy screen that leads to a flex cut. And because of that, there's a bit of miscommunication between Obi Toppin and Josh Hart. One of them thinks it's a switch. One of them thinks they're just guarding it straight up. Kevin Love wide open for 3. This is beautiful. Kevin Love, enormous in this third quarter here for reasons that we will continue to get into. Another thing that you will notice here, look who's guarding Jalen Brunson. It's Jimmy Butler. That was an enormous adjustment from Erik Spoelstra in the third quarter. They moved Jimmy on to Jalen Brunson. So here, just look at the crowd. Look at the sea of bodies. Look at the sea of red that Jalen Brunson is seeing when he goes to pull up. That is Jimmy behind him, and that is 3 bodies directly in his driving line. There is no chance that he is going to be able to get effective penetration there. So he pulls up. Here we go. Kevin Love, another touchdown outlet pass to Jimmy Butler. Just absolutely beautiful stuff here. Again, they're going to try and get the ball. RJ Barrett, right side of the court, getting downhill to the left. Look how many bodies. You've got 2 directly in front of them. That is an exceptionally difficult shot. Again, Kevin Love. Again, outlet, touchdown pass, Jimmy Butler. This was just beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful here. Late in the third quarter, you're going to get Caleb Martin on Jalen Brunson here. You have Cody Zeller in instead of Bam Adebayo even, and it doesn't matter. The principles are still the same. The goals are still the same. I hit the rewind button a little bit too far that time, but the goals are still the same. You're going to see Jalen Brunson. He is going to drive. He is going to get swallowed up by a sea of 5 bodies in the paint. He's going to kick it to Josh Hart, and they're going to make Josh Hart beat them from 3. We'll see if that happens throughout the course of the series. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but the Heat are going to make him prove it. Again, here we go. Another attack. You've got an iced ball screen here from Erik Spoelstra. So you have a defender directly in front of Jalen Brunson, and you have Bam right there in help on the weak side. This is just a very, very difficult play. It's a very, very difficult play for Jalen Brunson there. Finally, this is going to be the last one. This is, I believe, Emmanuel Quickly struggling at the top. And then again, we're going to see a drive, this time with RJ finally on the left side of the court. That is not where he is going to be comfortable. They are just going to way over help to the left every time that RJ is driving left from the left side of the court because he doesn't feel wildly comfortable driving with his right. And here it's just way too easy to watch what he is going to do in terms of counter. Again, multiple bodies in front of him, multiple bodies in the paint. That is a miss. RJ's pissed. He thinks he got fouled. He didn't. That's what happened in the second half. The Miami Heat adjusted in such a real substantial way to what the Knicks were doing, and frankly, just got back to their own principles in terms of what they want to do in this series, in my opinion. I think what their goal is in this series is just to crowd the paint and make the Knicks a perimeter team, not a paint team.
Yep. Sam, if you wouldn't mind, could you go back to the clips at the start of the second half on the defensive end of the floor? And look, this reminded me a lot of watching a couple of years ago, maybe 3, maybe 4 now, the Raptors and Milwaukee Bucks played, and Toronto went into a real aggressive, what I call a blocks and elbows type of defensive scheme. So we'll see remnants of that here in the defensive half on the help side positions from the Miami Heat. But 2 things I wanted to bring up in these first 2 clips. One, I call them team stride stop. Like, it's not meant to be an insult. I love the footwork and how under control the Knicks are when they bully their way to the paint. But when you spin or half spin and you pivot your way down, anytime you turn the back of your head to a help defender, that gives them an avenue to knife in and help, because when you turn back in their direction, you don't expect them to be on top of you. So as you play this clip, here's Brunson kind of half spinning back to his right. We know he's a lefty. He's going to want to turn back to his left eventually. As that happens, and he does end up spinning, Butler is there and prevents him from being able to do this. It was a personnel understanding from the Miami Heat that I expect them to do a lot of moving forward, in knowing that the Knicks are going to be very patient to pivot, to fake, and they can come in on those plays. This one right here, if you wouldn't mind starting play number 2 from the top. This is called a hawk action, and the New York Knicks ran it a ton against the Cleveland Cavaliers as a way of trying to find post mismatches and isolations. Right here, the Miami Heat switch it, and then you can see they don't give a damn about the stagger on the weak side. They don't chase Josh Hart really with any type of urgency to the top of the key, instead staying very lane protected. So if the Knicks are going to try to beat this, and again, we get to those pivots and half spins, and Miami can sneak in here in these areas, the ball is going to be in Jalen Brunson's hands in the middle of the floor. They are not going to care about somebody who's designed to come off of those screens being able to shoot it, particularly if those shots come from the corner. And this is where the great adjustment was made from Kevin Love to just look ahead and go. If a shot comes from the corner, then the Miami Heat can rebound it, and they have a transition avenue to bust out and run, because it is so hard to bust out sprint when you have guys in the corner and a big man on the baseline who's trying to pin in and seal for him. I thought that the understanding of where the Knicks players are placed offensively, having particularly 3 along the baseline a lot of times, gives Miami opportunities and avenues to run as we move forward.
Yeah, I think that's all really smart. I think another thing that's kind of worth pointing out here is just the way that Kevin Love, it felt like, and Bam Adebayo consistently got a body on Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
This is something that the Cavs really, really struggled with throughout the course of their series. Look at how Bam here is just boxing Mitchell Robinson at a really high level. He is just making sure to get a body on him from the moment that shot goes up. Body on him, making it way tougher. I think Mitch even still got the ball because Mitch is going to high point the ball better than Bam Adebayo and Kevin Love. But if you get a body on him, it's going to be really, really hard. I think that is a big part of this series. How long can the New York Knicks go without getting those extra shots offensively? The extra shots were huge for them against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't know if they're going to get as many here against the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat tend to be a team that is very disciplined on the defensive glass. They don't have a ton of size, which is why sometimes they can struggle. But for the most part, this season, they were very, very good on the defensive glass. They were a top 5 team in defensive rebounding rate this entire season. So the Knicks should not expect as many second shots in this series as what they got.
Well, and look, the Knicks were outside of Obi Toppin 3 of 23 from deep. Like, if the Heat are begging you to take those shots and you don't make them, of course you're going to lose. But if 2, 3, 4 of those shots go in and they're at about 35, 36% as a team, This is a different ballgame. So it's going to
Yeah.
be a make or miss type of series for the New York Knicks. And until they start making them, I don't think the Miami Heat have to necessarily adjust. But if the Knicks are just so comfortable at creating all of these great easy opportunities in the lane through muscle ball, I don't think Miami is going to have to change that and just live with the Knicks starting to get hot.
Right. So now the questions moving forward in the series are, what does Miami do if Jimmy Butler can't really play, or if he is hindered in some way in terms of creating offense? What does this look like when Julius Randle is back? Can they go and bludgeon a little bit more on the offensive glass than what they were able to with just Mitchell Robinson and Obi Toppin there today? There are a number of questions here moving forward within this series. If it stays like this, the Heat will win. Like there is very little doubt in my mind that the Heat will win if it stays like this, because they will force the Knicks to beat them from the outside. And this is the one thing that I worry about with the Knicks, unless Emmanuel Quickley and Quentin Grimes can really play. They struggled in this game, and they struggled, not necessarily Grimes because of the shoulder injury, but Quickley struggled in the Cavs series as well. This is a big Emmanuel Quickley and Quentin Grimes series, because I think they're going to need the shooting out there, which means they're going to need Quentin Grimes' shoulder to be healthy, and they're going to need Emmanuel Quickley to be better than what he was in Cleveland.
No question. And look, I love Tom Thibodeau. I think he's an unbelievable and amazing coach. I have been wondering and waiting all season long for a few more Isaiah Hartenstein high post touches, not just because it opens up the rim in a lot of ways, but he's really good at diming from those locations and finding open guys. If the Heat are going to pack the paint, that might be a viable strategy that they can go to a little bit further down the line. I just don't know if we'll end up seeing it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we'll end up seeing it either. Do you have anything else you want to say on this series?
I don't think so. Fun first game. Want to see the counterpunch from Thibodeau and how he can find ways to open up the lane a little bit more or punish the Miami Heat for clogging so much, other than just making shots.
Yeah, I think this is a series where eventually, if Julius Randle can't really play, they're probably going to have to go small. We'll see what Julius Randle's health looks like moving forward, but I think the Knicks' better bet is probably going a bit smaller and making Kevin Love bludgeon them on the glass. He did a pretty good job of that today. We will see if he can do that into the future. I think that might be the adjustment back if you're the New York Knicks. Try and go smaller. Try and go, Brunson Quickly, Grimes, Barrett, or something like that. Get 4 perimeter creators out there at all times around Mitchell Robinson, around Julius Randle. I think that might be the move for them.